paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, yeah, it's downright refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
Well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Brainstorm Brewery. I am your host, Caslin, joined here by DJ Douglas Johnson and our guest, Braden of Braden MTG, Bradenisms, and the Dan format.
Hello. Oh, you forgot. Did you say Bennies? Did you forget Bennies?
I forgot
so many.
Bennies.
There's just so many formats you're in charge of. You're just
But
the
You're the Tiny
format
Leaders, the Tiny Leaders Rules Committee too, right?
I'm not on that yet. They have not accepted my application.
Yet.
Braden MTG, progenitor of Oathbreaker? Question mark emoji.
CEDH All-Star, Braden MTG.
It's true. It's true. Someone called me that once. One time. And then they had me sign their playmat. It was pretty great. I was like, what a big name.
You're such a big shot. Anyways,
this
this week
was
on
like
Brainstorm
4
Brewery,
years
we
ago.
have spoilers for like 4 different sets, financial analysis from the best minds in the industry, clearly, and also some ad reads. If you know how much you love ad reads, we made sure to include a couple extra for you, so you're ready for those. Be excited. Plus our usual segments, Breaking Bulk, Pick of the Week, and Picking Corbin's Nose. That one's also here this week. Speaking of which, Corbin has died again. DJ, any comment?
Just a sigh of relief, really. I mean, I know it's been coming for a long time. I know he was in a lot of pain. I'm glad he's released from the sweet mortal coil and has found his soul in whatever deity he chooses to rest his peace with.
Rest in peace, King.
Rest in peace, Corbin gang. Can we do like a fade in with like a bunch of stars and like a little memorial segment for Corbin? JJ, can you get on that?
It's kind of like transparent though.
Yeah. It's like slowly fades in. Some like Creed plays in the background. God.
God, I was like one of the first times I was disappointed as a child was when I watched Aragon the movie. One of the second times I was disappointed was as a child when I learned that Creed was a Christian band.
I've been Creed maxing recently. I've been learning a lot about Creed. I had a friend stay over for a couple of days who is a big fan. Did you know that like 2 months after 9/11 they did a Super Bowl halftime show that is the most American thing possible? If you are looking for a good time, look up like the 2001 October Creed halftime show. It is a delight.
The date is not hard to find, Cass, when you say it's right after 9/11. Like
it was embarrassingly close. There's like a dude who's totally jacked with a shaved head, like riding around on a ribbons that have the American flag pattern on them. He's like flying through the sky on an American flag. It's unhinged. And Creed is the one singing.
Can I tell like a really cringe story I heard about 9/11 today?
Absolutely, that's what this podcast is about.
All right.
This podcast is an 9/11 podcast, actually.
I'm the worst, and I was reading Mitt Romney's new book. I'll let the booze come in. Anyway, there's a story of him meeting George Bush, and it's like right after 9/11, and he's like, oh my God, what is he thinking about? He must be like really like in it. And then he looks over to George Bush, and George Bush turns to him and goes, do I look fat in this? It's like perfect. Oh, it was awesome. It was at the Olympics. It was like, oh, this is a great story. I love this. Oh.
The Romney book is just like the BoJack Diaries, just like unedited.
It's really
good. Directly to the public.
I love it. There's like multiple parts where he is like just he should not be this honest. Dude, you work with these people every day. What are you doing? It's awesome. I love it.
Maybe he's dying.
It's like the Madison Cawthorn Diaries of like, they do a lot of coke in here. Just kidding.
For legal reasons, this is a joke.
There's like, I texted this guy and was like, hey, I think they're going to raid the Capitol. And then he ghosted me. And that other guy was like, Senate Minority Leader.
It's on Bumble.
It's on Bumble.
Yeah, it was
Romney gets a grind notification being like, you would not believe what they're about to do in the Capitol tomorrow.
Get
it
those
was
super
kind of
swips
like
and
that.
There'll be a lot more people in the zip code.
It was like another senator being like, "Yo, I just talked to the Pentagon. They are not really excited about tomorrow. You should go talk to the guy who's currently leading all of this bullshit and try to convince him to bring more police to the Capitol." Like, oh, it was awesome in a terrible way. Ah,
I recently found a tweet from my now spouse that was on January 6th of 2022. Or 2021, whichever year the thing happened. I forget, time is a flat circle. Which was like, well, that was exciting. Now I'm going to go bang my girlfriend. So that's just like in the ether as the thing that I did on January 6th. So
JJ, can we
cool.
have that tweet slowly fade into the screen with Creed playing?
I retweeted it recently.
that's like so wholesome, you know?
Yeah.
Isn't that just what history is all about? Banging people and
Where's the 9/11 song about that? Where were you on January 6th? Dude.
Creed would do a great song about banging your girlfriend on the day of a Capitol insurrection. it's just like in the wheelhouse.
I had
God
two
was
things I
watching.
had to do that day. Kill Mike Pence and fuck my
With
girlfriend.
legs wide open. There it is.
There we go. We found the hook, y'all. Speaking of hooks, Magic players are following hook, line, and sinker for these new Universes Beyond products. I'm trying really hard to do clean transitions, which is something
That
that
was
I'm not
good.
known for.
With that, I mean, we packaged that up, put it in After Hours, and now we sail into the sunset on whatever this is. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
so excited. I thought we were doing Lorcana discussion. I was like, Hook, let's go. Okay, fine. We can talk about Marvel.
Here's the question on every Magic player's mind right now: is when's Marvel? When's Marvel?
When's what?
When's Marvel?
Oh, 2025, right? We know.
2025.
Yeah, we know that. It's like a fact.
Okay.
Yeah. I was talking about it with Ben, and Ben was like, I don't know when the hell this shit's coming out. And then like 2 minutes later, they dropped some press release that was like, oh, this is the one that's coming out.
How are we feeling about this particular crossover, gang?
I want my anime Tony Stark confetti foils. Give me,
Do you think
give me that.
you think each chest hair will individually be confettied?
I hope it's just the nipples. It's like the Batman nipples. Just get those beautiful.
Well, Batman's
things.
DC, so he won't be in this one.
No, but I was saying inspired by 90s Batman nipples. I want Tony Stark in the
Remy's
suit.
DC.
Are you saying nipples are DC exclusive?
They are actually. They have a copyright on them.
They copyright? Oh, well, you know. I guess
Marvel
that's why
got the
you're
crotch
a Brainstorm
bulge.
Brewery, you know?
Yeah, Marvel got the crotch bulge. DC got the nipples.
Who has the goth?
It was an
women?
ugly divorce.
It
Who
was
got
not
those?
a pretty divorce.
You know?
I mean, there's not really much to say on Marvel, I don't think. You either love it or you hate it as a concept. You either feel like this is the Fortnitification of the game that you've loved for 30 years.
We're kind of
or
a bit
you
past
are-
that. We hit Fortnite about a fortnight ago, you know?
Yeah, right. I know, but I think this is a new level of breaking point for some people because of the level of franchise that it is, and because the phrase multiple tent post sets was used. And for those who don't know, a tent post set or a tent pole set is a set that will have all of the products under it. So it is not like a Warhammer 40K's decks. It's not like a Arcane Secret Lair. It is all the bells and whistles like Lord of the Rings, where you have collector boosters, commander decks, and so on and so forth, and all of the things. We don't know if it'll be a standard legal, but that is, I suppose, a possibility.
I, for one, don't think they're going to put Universes Beyond into Standard for a while. Just because they're making this new push to make Standard a core part of Magic's identity in stores. I think it'll be at least a little while. Plus, Modern's still kind of their golden child, so I think they're gonna keep it to that for now. But I wouldn't be surprised if by the time we get to Marvel in 2025, that we might have that happening, which would be exciting and a little annoying to say the least. But
I think we're another AFR or two away from that. Like property that Hasbro owns internally and is thematically already kind of tied in with Magic. I think they're gonna pull from that well at least a couple more times till they feel like they need to go standard Marvel set or standard Lord of the Rings set. Although I think standard
What
Lord of the Rings
other-
set would be what I would expect.
What other
before I go
Hasbro
Marvel.
things do we have that we pull from besides AFR and Transformers?
I think Transformers
That,
is
that
the
fit
big one.
thematically.
I
What's that?
think Transformers is actually the big one.
But they already did that. But
Yeah.
I guess like they still own Axis and Allies. Is that still a thing that Hasbro WotC has?
Ooh, they own Hero Realm, right? Hero Realms, is that what it's called? It's like another board game.
I have
Cal
no
from
idea.
Planet
They own
Power
Duel Masters.
really likes it. That's true.
They do own Duel Masters, which is really big in Japan, not big here.
Yeah, there are things that they can do, and they can also, just keep doing Dungeons and Dragons over and over again. And
It's true.
I assume
It's
their
really
relationship.
weird.
I assume their relationship with the Tolkien estate is good enough that they could probably do a standard set with cards that they kind of have. If they get to a point where like they have 2 or 3 Lord of the Rings sets, Secret Lair or 2, they might have the confidence to start doing like, hey, we're gonna have a standard set and we're gonna guarantee we can reprint these cards because we already have developed this relationship with this other organization. That's like the distant past, I think. Distant future, I mean, like 2 or 3 years, 4 years, 5 years.
The other question that's kind of looming on my mind is, as WotC gets bigger, when does another company absorb like WotC? Like Hasbro, WotC is the only thing going for it, but like Hasbro is a company that is large, but not so large that it couldn't be bought and absorbed by something else.
We have 6 companies.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, at what point does one of the 5 large companies absorb a tiny one? Hasbro's relatively small compared to a lot of these.
I think
And antitrust laws in the U.S. don't do anything, so
yeah, I think it'll probably be a while. And this is probably a question for people who study like global macroeconomics, not trading card games. You know what I mean?
well, we're podcasters, so we pretend to know everything.
I guess that's why I don't have a podcast. Ugh, shame.
You're too humble, Braden. You're too humble.
Wow,
Braden,
no
you have a
one's ever called me that
Patreon. That's a
before.
step away from a podcast.
That's true. It's true. I'm so excited to do Benny's content on it. Can't wait. I'm so excited.
Okay, so for those who don't know, what is Bennies?
Okay, so this is a great opportunity to expand my empire of weird niche formats to a wider audience. So like half a year ago now, Card Market did a video with Andre Mingucci and another tour person, and they did a thing where they like spent €100 and built decks in like 20 minutes. And I thought that was really cool. So me and my friends, like the same weekend, there was an SCG.
And you have to be in person at this.
Yeah, I'm just explaining the backstory. So the same weekend that video went out, my friend Matt and I were like, hey, let's just go do this at SCG Richmond ourselves. We did $100 and we gave ourselves an hour because we're not Pro Tour champions. And it was a ton of fun. We just built these awesome decks. There's no ban list. We played 4 Soul Rings in our decks, and we played cards that were like banned in Legacy, and it was a ton of fun. I had 4 White Plume Adventurers and 4 Seasoned Dungeoneers in my deck, and they had just been banned in Legacy, so they were super cheap. It was just awesome. And so I just started organizing just groups of people doing it at events that I was at, and we did a big like 8-person tournament plus like other people throughout the weekend playing casually at CG Con Baltimore over the summer. And at Pittsburgh, I have another one of these planned, except it'll be a little different. We're going to have like a scavenger hunt with clues. So like if you double sleeve your deck, you get an additional point. If you have a blue tree as your companion, you get an additional 3 points. A match win is 2 points. And then there'll be like a category for the person who had the most match wins and a person who has the most points in general. And so it'll be a bit more casual and fun. And it'll be, when we're doing it in Pittsburgh, it'll be like, it's not like Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist Kingdom where you just like challenge someone else who played Bennies and then whoever wins gets the points.
Oh, there has to be field advantages too. Like if you play in the parking lot, all of your Transformers get extra 1 power or something.
I like that idea, especially with bars, because I feel like most of my Bennies games that have been not in a tournament hall have had a bar across the street. So there's stuff we can do like that.
If you do a Joey Wheeler Brooklyn accent, you get bonus 2 points.
I like that one. We had some. Oh, like if your deck has no cards over, basically like almost like companion rules, right? Like if you have 80 cards in your deck, you get an extra point. Stuff like that. Some of them are funny and like mocking people, but Bennies is really fun.
Wait,
We love a good mean-spirited gag.
Yeah, like I don't know, like I don't know, what's like a mean-spirited one. I can't think of any right now, but there's one that's like real estate developer is like the name of the clue, and the actual like thing is you have to pay for all your basic lands. There's just stuff like that. Like, I wish I could remember one of the mean
I was
ones
about to
'cause I
ask,
like mean ones. I used to do really mean Secret Santas when I was in college. We'd all get together and buy each other the meanest gifts we could get each other, and I kind of want to do that as adults, but it's not really looked upon fondly by most people.
I am learning a lot about you, Braden.
A lot of my best friends are really mean to me. I think that's fun. Sort of facilitate that behavior.
I say this without. I say this purely as a compliment, Braden. You're so bullyable.
It's true. No one's ever been better at it.
I did not expect what's Bennies, and then the final domino is a lot of my best friends are really mean to me.
I just want to create opportunities for bullying, Good time.
Can we just put that as like a tagline of the episode, like as like the text blurb?
Yeah, sure.
I love bullying, Braden MTG.
That's true.
We should bully people more, Braden MTG.
I think you have a Twitter account for that, don't you?
Yeah, there is the Bradenisms account, which you can check out. We moved. It hasn't been updated since, and I don't trust my employer enough to give them the keys to the account. I'm not allowed to have access. That's always been the rule, is that I'm not allowed to run the account. It's more funny if
the Bradenisms account.
Yeah, it's more funny if someone who isn't me is to decide what goes on the account, and I don't. If that makes sense. So it's always been someone I worked with.
Oh, for sure. You love giving over control to somebody. Like you want to hand someone over the keys.
All right, we're just gonna.
I get it. Who's ready for breaking bulk?
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, breaking bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
Our favorite game where we have to guess each other's bulk picks.
I have a bad one.
Hit us. Let's go.
All right, do I give you the set? Is that where we start?
You give us the original printing,
Sure.
the rarity, and the color are generally the 3 starting points.
I'm gonna do 2 of those, and then, which is kind of a hint of its own. It's going to be from Return to Ravnica and a common. Oh,
Ethereal armor.
Goblin.
no, it's neither of those.
Not Goblin Electromancer, not Ethereal Armor.
Is it one of the
Creeper Vine?
defenders?
This
Yeah.
is a card that is like I'll say this also. It's a foil, and it's like uniquely more expensive than. I'm just gonna give it away. I'm so bad at this game.
No, just give us the color. Like it's not supposed to be like impossible to guess.
It's a land. It's colorless. There's like
Rogue's Passage?
no.
No, Rogue's Passage is uncommon.
Is it a Guildgate?
Yeah,
Is it Guildgate?
it is a Guild Gate.
Why is it Guildgate the good one?
If
It
you
just looks really good in foil.
that's true, and also if you look at EDH Rec, there's some unique characteristics about Izzet as a color combination that make players more likely to play Izzet Guildgate over any other color combination Guildgate. It's enemy colored, and for like a while, enemy colored duels were actually like genuinely harder to find at a cheap price. And also, Izzet is not green, and so it doesn't have access to like the really good fixing that like green X decks would have access to. And Teamer actually has pretty bad mana too, even then.
So people are willing to pay several dollars for a foil Izzet Guildgates, even though enough lands have been printed to the point that you really don't need to play Guildgates and Commander anymore, even on a budget.
Yeah. So for context, it's 60 cents on the CK buy list for a foil Izzet Guildgate.
I mean,
There
also
has to be...
the kind of person who has a Niv Mizzet Paran deck is the kind of person who also has a foil Izzet Guildgate, and it matters a lot to them.
That's very true.
I was going to say, the word Izzet in this card
Yeah.
matters a lot, which, I mean, I know all the Guildgates have their guild name in them, but there's a degree of, I guess, identification and lore roleplay with this, of like, I am representing my guild by putting everything with Izzet in its name over a potential Sheevan Reef kind of card.
And so
Like some of the most popular commanders are Mizzix of the Ismagus and like Niv Mizzet, who just all kind of have that vibe of being very Izzet.
yeah, and
Not just blue-red.
what's interesting also is, and I think I'm correct on this, is that the There's the original Return to Ravnica set has two versions of every guild gate. So there's the dragon. What's this? Like called Dragon's Maze.
All the Dragon's Maze ones are zoomed in, or vice versa.
Yeah, they have different art, and
no, they're the same art. They're just zoomed in.
well, they're not. Whatever is in the box is meaningfully different than the Return to Ravnica art.
Sure.
And they're not as expensive, if I remember correctly. I think they're like much cheaper. So interesting. That might be old information from when I used to work at SCG. But when I was pricing guild gates, that was the thing I enjoyed doing because they would get weirdly expensive, and the other pricers wouldn't look at them because they're just like garbage. I would sometimes go look at them and.
We will talk about your interesting experiences pricing cards at SCG in a minute, but for now, I will try to stump you guys with my own Breaking Bulk pick, and it is a Modern Horizons green uncommon.
Green, Scurry Oak?
No.
It's a great pick.
Modern Horizons 1.
Oh, Modern Horizons 1? Is it the Llanowar tribe?
That was quick, yeah. Okay, I have a backup plan.
I just know my Modern Horizons sets really well, that's all.
My backup plan is also a green Dominaria United uncommon.
Terra Sunder.
God damn it. Okay, well...
These cards are in my wheelhouse. I'm playing Terra Sunder in Legacy right now.
Terra Sunder's a messed up card. That card's good.
Terra Sunder is a very powerful card. 1 in a green. It's just your old Naturalize, but it exiles. And if you kick it for 1 in a black, it is just an instant speed, almost better Maelstrom Pulse Putrefy. It's just a... It seems like it'd be a rare, but it's not, and that's why it's $2. And Llanowar Tribe is 3 Llanowar all stapled together with a glue gun, and it is like 50 cents. There you go.
Terra Sunder notably has the benefit of being a card that isn't embarrassing to main deck anymore in Modern because Leyline Binding is everywhere. Plus, so is Beanstalk.
There's the Saga.
You just kind of always have a hit for it.
Yeah, that card's awesome. Like, anytime I've played a deck that can cast that card in Modern, I've been really impressed.
Well, it also tags the One Ring, doesn't it? Because it exiles in the front half.
Yes, it does. That's true. And it on the
that card's
on
nice.
the 2-mana mode too, right? It's not even the keyboard version.
Terra Sunder has aged well. My pick, it might be easy to get, but it's a card that I've noticed has been doing really, really well in terms of dollars and cents. It is a March of the Machines Aftermath white uncommon because there are no commons in the set.
Is it the 1 in a white human that gives ward to everything?
It sure is. It is Coppercoat Vanguards, which I had pulled up here a moment ago.
That card is unbelievable. That card's awesome.
Notably, it is Pioneer legal, and we're getting Cavern of Souls soon too. So this is kind of a Breaking Bulk of the week, but the card's also just good on its own merits. Byless for 30 cents CK, and TCG low is like a quarter, so there's like already a negative spread there. Aftermath was not a popular set. There's probably a good amount of it still unopened, just kind of rotting in warehouses.
It's notably bad enough.
And I think...
Notably, the set was bad enough that they basically immediately commented on how badly it did. You know.
Right. Which means that, like, a lot of these are still going to be in bulk, because I feel like people opened this, saw they didn't get a Nissa or an Obnixilis or a Calyx or whatever, and were just like, Boo Earns, and then threw it in a bulk box.
I do think...
but as we see Cavern of Souls enter Modern, we might be seeing Humans deck make a resurgence, and this is going to be a key card in that.
I do think one point against this as like a Breaking Bulk card is that on release, the card still was like $1, I think. And it was for a while. I don't know.
That's not a point against it as a Breaking Bulk.
Sure.
Like, people will...
And ratio and didn't ask.
Let me just close my computer again for the second time on this show.
You thought you liked people being mean to you.
I was just going to say, what happened to the very bullyable person?
Hey, I'm still on the show. It's a bit. Come on. Let me play along.
It's a bit. We were doing a bit, Jerry.
Okay, Braden. So one of the main reasons that you're on this show is because you're now allowed to be on this show without the potential red tape or HR compliancy issues. You are free from the Star City land. You moved up to the upstate.
Beautiful Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, as I like to call it.
It is a Commonwealth and a township.
Sure. So, if pricing guild gates is the low point of your day, I would love to hear some of the HR compliant and some of the NDA approved stories of some of your time at Star City.
Sure. I guess I should say what I did there. I was a pricing representative, and so what that meant was it was my job to price cards. So there's like a whole team of people who do that. I don't think that's like a really big secret if you're in the industry. Um, there are, a whole bunch of people who all day are sitting at their computer determining what the prices of cards sell for. You're thinking about how do you buy more cards, how do you sell more cards, and that's what your job is to do. I was there for a little over 2 years. At the end, I was pricing Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, Dark, Legends, Arabian Nights, 7th edition foils, stuff like that. So I was doing a lot of the high-end stuff. Uh, not, yeah, that's, I think that's a good way of putting what I did. Um,
So you're saying that you kind of have like an area of expertise in low velocity items, I think is how
yeah,
I
I
put
would say
it.
so. Although I actually think this is like a weird thing to say though. I think my biggest skill actually while I was there was with high velocity stuff like commander stuff. But if you were a lot of the pricers who've been there long enough have been there long enough to know that you don't want to price the low velocity stuff because it's kind of a nightmare to do, and if you just want to be there and stay comfortable, it's kind of not the thing you want to do because it's just a nightmare all the time, and there's a lot of opportunities to mess up in a way that makes you look really bad. Where if you're just pricing MH2 mythics, like uh, it's
It's like great solitude checks watch. Yep, still $40
exactly,
next
and that's
card.
not like the guy who did that. Like he is the person who does you now, and like we talked about it. He was like really upset that I was leaving because he didn't want to do it, and it's not. There's nothing wrong with like wanting to do the fun job, which is like pricing MH2 cards because those cards are fun to price because you have a lot of information as you are in SG. Where
To
go ahead.
to quote another member of the industry, the stuff that you'd be doing with low velocity high end cards is a very iterative process. It's like you're not trying to be 100% right because it's impossible. You're trying to be the least amount wrong each time, and each time get less
Yeah,
wrong.
there's a saying at SCG which I really appreciated, which is you what is it exactly? I want to make sure I don't fuck it up. Basically like there's no right. Yeah, I remember what it is. There are no right answers, but there are definitely wrong answers. And the job is about slowly whittling down the amount of wrong answers you're doing. And right before I left SCG, like I did a whole bunch of stuff really wrong, and it was really stressful as I was leaving because I felt really guilty that I was like handing off on someone's plate some stuff that I felt like I had really messed up. Uh, Particularly just because the reserve list market was imploding, which I'm sure you've talked about on here at some point. Uh, and I had never had to deal with that before. It was really challenging because uh, when you have so little information, you have so little experience. Because I had only been doing it for 6 months when I left. It can be really challenging to not feel like you're just fucking up all the time. Because I was fucking up all the time because I wasn't I was learning on the job, you know. So uh, in terms of fun stories, I'm not sure I have like anything too crazy. Generally just that doing shows is like really nuts, and if you've ever been a buyer for a store, you get put in situations that are just like challenging and like I learned that like being communicative about when you're like struggling is like unbelievably important. Like I got written up while I was at SCG one time because I finished a buy and I realized I had put half of the buy behind the laptop and not priced it and then paid the person and then they just walked away and we paid them in cash. So it was like, holy shit, what do I do? I have to pay them for the rest of this buy. And we ended up paying them, or actually we ended up giving them their stuff back. But the reason I got written up is because I didn't price out the rest of it when I did that. And like I was the lesson there was like I just like need to pay better attention first of all, but also like when that issue came up, I just like didn't talk to the person who was in charge of the booth in the right way, and like didn't handle the customer in the right way, and I didn't stop what I was doing with the buy that came after it in the right way. And there's just a lot of stuff like that. Like if you've
Shows are definitely high intensity situations where like accountability matters a lot because lack of accountability just makes problems worse.
yeah, so I liked working for SCG a lot. It was really cool. Uh, but if you've worked in this like industry, like there are you're handling like tens and 20s and 30s of thousands of dollars. Like you might have 100 grand on your desk one day, and if you make a mistake, like a 1% error is now $1,000. And like a reality of this industry is most of us who are employees are not getting paid that much. So $1,000 error when you're making under $50,000 a year is like holy shit. It's really scary. Um, So yeah, I don't know if that's interesting. Those are some thoughts at least.
I think on this cast, we kind of DJ is sort of like a business owner, and I'm a business owner at this point, and Corb is just kind of like a former backpacker turned coverage person. So it's definitely like a unique perspective for the cast of someone who sort of is a cog in the machine, not like in a negative way, but just like in a like you are making things move way. So yeah, it's super cool to hear about like the sort of the inner workings of the day to day.
I really love talking to people. Like when you're a buyer and you get to like, I'm sure you guys definitely experience this. Like you get to talk to people for like a couple hours as you're doing their collection, and like you feel like you're feels like kind of like you're wheeling and dealing, but also like getting to kind of play like conversation ever. Like I think that's really fun.
I believe the Venn diagram we have settled upon is therapist / bartender /
Yeah, I think that's a really good. Especially bartender. I think bartender is really close to the reality. Like you're dealing with someone like, I can't tell you how many guys have told me they just got divorced. You know what I mean? Like it happens every day.
Yeah, I'm selling this collection for extremely emotional life experience reason, and you just have to put that hat on and play the role.
As somebody who tried to lean as close to drug dealer and as far from therapist as possible, the divorcees kind of just went to DJ. I'd be like, oh, actually, I'm about to go on break. My co-buyer here, DJ, is totally available.
Yeah, I get the vibe that DJ is really good at supporting divorcees. Look at that. Look at that jacket. That just tells it all. You look so nice. Yeah, you look so good.
DJ's great with divorced dads and like older women. Like, oh, what a nice young man.
That's so sweet. All the older women that are at the Magic events you're buying and selling at.
You'd be surprised these days. There's a lot of moms. Like a lot of like.
You know what?
Like much older moms.
At the Warcana events, that is my experience. I was like asked by like people who play Magic sometimes, like, what are the Warcana events like? Like, well, it's like guys and their daughters and guys and their girlfriends and moms, and that's like the Warcana. I'm just some guy who showed up to play children's card games most of the time.
It has been cool to see sort of like the blending of the gamer, like the Magic players turn Lorcana players, and then like the Disney people who this is their first card game. It is really interesting to see the like former SCG grinders of the world commingle with the Disney season pass holders.
It's very funny, but also I agree it is actually interesting. I get asked all the
when I was in the hospital a few weeks ago, my nurse had some Disney paraphernalia, and I managed to. She's like, "Oh, I'll take a stack of business cards," because I was like, "Oh, have you heard of the card game? Just curious. This is my industry. Have you heard of the Disney card game?" She's like, "No," but now after work, I'm gonna go to the game store and check it out and buy some packs because she's just it's Disney. Yeah. I need it.
Well, she's not gonna buy some packs, unfortunately, but she can try.
Yeah, I get asked all the time when I'm at Lorcana events if I play any trading card games, like any other trading card games, and that's also awesome because like basically my entire adult life I've like hung out at work where I do Magic stuff, or at card shops where I do Magic stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, like these people don't know that I'm like a guy who works at a card shop. This is pretty cool.
They don't know. They don't know the real me.
Okay. I'm gonna start fresh. Speaking of looking fresh, let's talk about our sponsor, Coalesce Apparel and Design. DJ, take it away.
You can head on over to coalesceapparel.shop/collection/brainstorm-brewery. Get yourself one of everything. Use that gift code Brainstorm Brewery. The winter months are coming up. Halloween's coming up. You want to look spooky. You want to look scary. You want to look warm. Get those dark colors. Walk around in the low light settings with your hood up, scare some people, just look threatening. It's not hard. It's a Brainstorm Brewery hoodie. You'll look a little bit like Corbin, and people will be like, Jesus, oh my God, you look like that
Corbin's dead, he's
guy.
A ghost now.
Yeah, he's spooky. He's a little boo emoji. He's terrifying in all settings.
This is so fucking
upstate
mean.
New York autumns.
He's such a sweetheart. How could you do this to him?
He's dead. What's he gonna do? Haunt us?
You don't know what he does to us on these recordings, Braden.
It's true. Did. Past tense. So here's what you're gonna do, folks. You're gonna go to Coalesce Apparel and Design .shop-collections-BSB.
You don't even need to know the whole. You can just go to the main
That's
website,
true.
scroll down. We're on the front page. We're big enough. We're a big
You
enough
can
content
navigate.
creator.
What you're going to do is you're going to go there and you're going to buy 30 of the shirt with my face on it and you're going to layer them up. You're going to wear like all of them. And then you're going to roll around town and you're going to become a Katamari ball of Coalesce Apparel and Design.shop-collections-Brainstorm Brewery. And you're going to collect all the other Coalesce Apparel and Design shirts and you'll have infinite shirts and then you'll own the company.
They can't see this, but I just did a typing motion very excitedly as you said shirt with your face on it. I just want you both to know that. You won't be able to know that.
Did you not know there was a shirt with my face on it?
I honestly
Braden?
have not seen it. Still, I did not actually go type it in because I don't want to mess up the entire recording thing I spent like a half hour trying to fix. But after this, I will. And I'll probably be buying a reasonably priced shirt with your face on it.
If you're not wearing that shirt when I see you at Eternal
When I
Weekend,
see
we're
you
not
at
friends
Eternal
anymore.
Weekend, I don't even know if I'm working that event.
I'm
I
gonna be
reached out
at
to the
Eternal
guy
Weekend.
who owns that runs that, asking if I could host a Bennies tournament, and he was like, he ghosted me. I got no response. I was so upset. I wanted to run Bennies at Eternal Weekend. It felt Bennies seems like the perfect Eternal Weekend format. It's not a real format. It's like all the other ones that.
You can just do it. What are they going to do?
Well, the problem is
Kick you out?
prizes. A lot of places will kick you out if you give out prizes without, giving them a little yuck of the yum.
It's Duelist Kingdom. They can't take your star chips without a duel.
Yeah, also, like, don't do prizes. Just do Bennies for pride.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah, sure.
It doesn't have to be gambling. It's better if it is, but
I
it
mean,
doesn't
if you
have
look
to
at
be.
the people playing Bennies, it's certainly a gambling adjacent crowd.
That is true.
Wait, also the new rules of Bennies, because it's Duelist Kingdom, you guys can play Bennies this time.
I mean, I don't work events anymore, so I'll be battling in the trenches.
Oh, so you are gonna?
I have my Bennies cube rotating in my head right now.
I've got a list of stuff I think of, and when I think of like a thing at work, when I say think of a thing, I mean I just put the cards in the $5 box. Anyway, yeah, I have a list of things.
So, as we kind of move on from the ad read that our fans love so much,
and our sponsors.
We have spoilers for Lost Caverns and our sponsors. We have spoilers from Lost Caverns of Ixalan that dropped the day after they dropped the Marvel announcement, the day after they dropped the Fallout spoilers, 3 days after Doctor Who released.
And Jurassic Park.
And Jurassic Park, and there's also some secret layers in there too. Do any cards from Lost Caverns of Ixalan spoilers spark joy for either of you?
Yes. Realsies.
What's your
it's the
favorite
one?
one?
Blood Red Elf, but I can flicker it.
That one's pretty nice. It's also mono red.
There's that red card with Cascade. The one that like shuffles everything in, and then it's all the permanent. Yeah, well, it's Warp World, but on a Cascade card. We play
Glimpse of Discovery.
Imagine you glimpse into one of those Discover dudes, and then you just Cascade all over again. Then you do it again. Oh my god, it's gonna be so fun! I can't wait.
Is that better than Goblin Dark Dwellers?
Yeah. For sure. Right?
Goblin Dark Dwellers just cast the spell again.
Yeah, doesn't this do the same thing?
Well,
you just play both, right? I
guess. Yeah, I guess that's fair. You just play both.
There are so many mechanics in this set, I think.
They're all kind of the same things, though. They're all like explore or count the number of permanents in your graveyard or transform.
I saw Descend, I saw Craft, I saw Discover, I saw Explore, I saw Map Tokens and Junk Token. Oh no, Junk Tokens would call out.
There's like 4 or 5 mechanics, which is pretty par for a standard set.
I guess.
The mechanics in the set on average are more complex, that is for sure.
Love to see it, unless you're like not.
We have Caves, which is, I guess, deserts, but underground.
I want to talk about the card that I'm going to think is a Spanish card every time I see it, because the name and the last line of text on it are a Spanish name.
Yeah.
But Bartolome de Presidio, which I means like Bartholomew of the garrison or something, or like of the troops, I think. That card is completely unhinged broken. It is like maybe the strongest card they've spoiled so far. It's a 2-mana, 2/1 for a white and a black. For a legendary creature, Vampire Knight, that says sacrifice a creature or artifact, put a +1/+1 counter on him. Notably, Agatha's Soul Cauldron is in standard. Also, it's a free sack elf that puts counters. Like, Nantuko Husk was very good in its time in standard, both times, I think.
That card is aged a long time ago.
But this card is way above that rate. This is maybe the strongest aristocrat we've seen at in a standard legal
What is
set
better
in
than
a long
this?
time.
Like, I guess the 1-drops, but they can't even block. Like, this is just a really good card, right?
I'm honestly struck. Like, Goblin Bombardment is the
Oh,
better
for
sack
sure, but
outlet,
it's not a
you know?
2-mana 2/1
Like,
that becomes a 3/2.
exactly,
You know,
yeah.
when you sack your Elvish Visionary or whatever the hell it is.
Also, you can put it under Soul Cauldron, which is like
Yeah.
bananas to me. There's a bunch of hardened scales type effects in standard 2 right now. There's like the Ozolith. There's the green white creature from Aftermath, which I think I might be making up. I think it might have been March of the
This
Machine.
card is, I mean,
So what you're saying is this is a future breaking bulk next year.
I'm not even that. It's
Well,
just like this card is exciting. This is
I do
they're
think
willing
one
to
thing about
push
this
some
card
stuff.
that's kind of cool is it's like just immediately, no matter what, going in every Elenda the Dusk Rose deck, you know? Like it's flavorfully, pairs up perfectly,
Yeah.
and mechanically it pairs up really well. It's like make a ton of dudes. So, and it's a vampire. Like, obviously that's intentional. Like that's not an accident, but just something to think about. Like that means there's just an inherent demand out there that already exists for one of the most popular commanders that exist, and they changed the rules so it would work properly. Like that's a pretty high pedigree to come out with.
One of my favorite commanders I've ever played is Vishkal Blood Arbiter. And this card kind of just like gives me that same vibe. Obviously, this is a much more modest effect, but it's also only 2 mana. But it's just like it's a vampire, it's a sack outlet, it does counters. It's everything I want in a card. So I'm excited about that one for being a player, not necessarily from a financial perspective.
We also have more reprints than I think we normally have in a standard set so far, which, I mean, Cavern, Growing Rites of Ixalan, Treasure Map.
There's like a whole mana
Gishath.
crypt thing, isn't there?
Gishath, I think, is on the bonus set, or on the bonus
Nope.
sheet. I believe that. No?
It's in the set proper. It is a Mythic Rare, card 229. Yeah, just straight Gishath reprint.
Oh.
4 good reprints. At least two or three of them are very much in world reprints. Cavern's kind of a whatever thing, but that does feel like a lot, right?
Well, and especially because they normally just slightly adapt the legendary thing to be name colon something else.
Right.
It'll be Niv. It's not Niv Mizzet Guild Mage or whatever. It's Niv Mizzet Perfected or Niv Mizzet 5 color.
Reborn.
It's some
Yeah.
evolution of the character. Whereas I didn't know that they were just putting What is this little frog? I
believe the frog is from the spoiler is from a arena thing.
Yeah, but I don't care about what it is. I just want to like own one and hold it and touch it and have it on my shoulder.
Well, if you touch it, you die.
That's fine.
I have a question for you all.
This guy, I've only known him for 2 minutes, but if anything happened to him, I would kill everyone I know, like, and then
Yeah.
myself.
I have a
Braden, are you looking at this
I'm
poison
trying
dart
to.
frog?
He's blue and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
that's adorable.
Although I don't think he has a tail because he's a frog.
Oh, wow, that's really cool how he kind of just like trades with something in the late game.
I don't care what he trades with. I just want to trade my heart
He's very
for him. I just want to hold.
I have a yeah.
It's a mana dork.
That's like, well, you said you didn't care about the text, so maybe
This is my favorite mana dork since Tangled Florahedron, I think. The creature, a mana dork being able to gain Death Touch with Reach is just like, this card is really strong, actually. It's a uncommon? I think it's an uncommon, but it's hard to tell because it's an arena edit on the spoiler that I'm looking at here. But like, it trading with a flyer after providing mana
it is
early game
crazy.
like,
It's crazy that it has reach. Like that is wild.
Yeah. Also, it can, if you leave 1 mana up plus the frog, it can block, and you can use it to pay
Yeah,
for its own
that's
Death
pretty
Touch
awesome.
ability.
What do you guys think of the discover mechanic? Like, isn't it like kind of insane they're doing that? Like, on creatures? Like, that's just
Which one's Discover? Is that
it's
the
a
Cascade?
cascade, but
adjacent
when they put it
mechanic?
on creatures, it's like an enter the
Yes.
battlefield effect. So you can like flicker it and then just cascade like.
Yeah.
It says if
Oh,
you
does it? I'm just a
cast it,
goddamn
Braden.
moron.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No. Oh no, it is if you cast it. Yeah, you're right. You're
Is
right.
that part of the mechanic?
I think this mechanic's fine. Blood Elf is like not on rate anymore, and the actual problem Cascade cards are the ones that they're not even the Cascade cards that are the problem. It's like the 0 mana free spells plus Beanstalk.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm much less hyped on it now. I didn't know it said if you cast it. I'm just ignorant.
Something Aspiring Spike pointed out earlier also is that the hidden caves, all of them are okay with Amulet of Vigor, and they all can hit the One Ring. So that's like something he's probably going to put in a deck at some point, which is cool.
That is... Sure. That is where we're at.
That man loves a Timeless Lotus more than most people love their children.
Yeah, that seems to be true from my experience. Timeless Lotus is a sick card. Like, I wasn't hot on it, and then I saw someone tap it
really
untap it
is.
twice with Amulet of Vigor, and I was like, oh, okay, this is magic, all right.
Oh yeah. We are schmoovin'. So I've done a little bit of leading and trying to coax a response out of both of you this whole episode. How do we feel about the industry as a whole? Like where are we feeling? Get the temperature, you know.
I'm content. I'm happy to ride the wave. I don't feel like Magic is dying like much of the online player base does. I feel that the player base is very heavily rotating, and a lot of entrenched players are leaving and feel disenfranchised, and there are just as many, if not more, players coming in to replace them. What that says for the prices of older things, I mean, somebody coming into the game through Jurassic Park or Doctor Who is not going to have that same level of nostalgia for something like Thunder Spirit from Legends. And so that reserved list stuff, there's not this reverence for things like Palinchron or things like Tolarian Academy so much so. And if there is, that's a discovery pipeline for several years down the road when they become entrenched in the game. They play EDH, they play Commander with their friends, they get these board game-esque decks of like, oh, Warhammer, or oh, I just spent $200 Doctor Who decks at the table, play them as they are for forever. The pipeline to making those other discoveries is so far down the road that I'm content selling, just churning new stuff. And like I don't think Magic is dying. I think that we're going to have to adapt, and we've always had to adapt, and we have to adapt a lot more now. And we need tools to do that, like automation, like scanning technology, like sorting machines, stuff we've talked about many times in the podcast before. But I'm okay. If I was worried I would not be doing this, I would be looking for an exit, and I'm not doing that yet.
I think that makes sense. Braden, somebody who's not in an ownership position, but rather someone who works for a company that seems to be bullish on Magic. How
I
are you
feel
feeling
good.
personally
I think
about it all?
you shouldn't take any of my opinions as reflective of Michael's. Not that he feels bad, but I just like want to be clear. Like, I haven't been indoctrinated yet into the cult of Michael. There'll be a couple of weeks until I really fully brainwashed. My actual thoughts are. Hope everyone is pretty clear. That's a joke. I think my actual thoughts are that a lot of what you said, DJ, are just is correct. Think of a store in Philly that's been very successful over the last 3 years that does not sell any singles at all. They sell a lot of sealed product, and they have massive like play spaces, Commander and like Dungeons and Dragons and other things in Philly where retail space is like incredibly expensive, and they're still successful. And if they've like doubled or tripled the amount of space they have in the last couple of years, and they've existed only in this time period. Like they started in 2019. They survived COVID by selling sealed product. They have been growing ever since. And I think of them, and if they're able to be successful, primarily doing, board games and sealed product, and not doing Magic singles, and just avoiding that because it's really complicated, really hard to do if you don't know anything about it. That's probably good for the game. Like I think of them, if there's a place where people can play the game, they can buy the sealed product, and it's in a place that has historically not been able to support an LGS. That's like a really good sign for me personally. And that's not the store I work at all. But I look at them and I see their success, and that makes me. That's a really good like what's the bell ringer? Is that what it is? I don't know. Just like it's a
Canary in
yeah.
the coal
If
mine,
if
let
a
this
new
test,
store
something
with
along
a
those
reasonable
lines.
amount of capital can start up, be successful with plenty of play space, just doing sealed products at reasonable prices, they sell Arcana at MSRP. Like they're not doing any. They're not like out there, grinding the hardest they
Oh,
could possibly. Yeah, they're just
they're just
doing
like straight
retail stuff, and
retail.
they're fine. And they're in Philly, like South Philly, and then in a pretty expensive place to do retail. That's a really good sign to me. I mean, I don't know them personally. Maybe they. I used to work for them, but I don't know like their finances or anything. But I see them. That's a good sign. There's two other game stores right down the street from them that are also open. They neither that one of them does singles, but it's not like what you think of. Uh, the other store doesn't do singles either. That's a good sign to me. I mean, it's bad for players because players want to be able to buy singles, but you need a place to play more than you need singles, to be honest. That's my personal opinion. I think all of the Universes Beyond stuff is like good for the game. Like I'm so unbelievably optimistic about that. Um, I think I know like there was an interaction on Twitter this week where Rodney and Stu were talking, and Rodney was like, "Do you see the player base as like replaceable?" Was the question I think that was asked, and Stu was like, "Yeah, everything's replaceable," and people got really upset with him about that. Um, I I don't actually like strongly disagree with
I
him.
actually,
Like I think parts of the player base are replaceable, and as long as the people coming in are friendly and not pieces uh and aren't like weirdos who make magic look worse, I'm happy. Like people are people. I'll make friends with them. I'll have people to play magic with. That's what makes me happy.
I actually have kind of like a thing that I've been stewing on regarding that a little bit. Where I'm a big believer. I keep having this thought cross the back of my mind, which is to be loved is to be changed, and we've all loved magic a lot. And as the world gets weirder and things get bad sometimes with the economy and global politics and deadly viruses, like magic for a lot of us was sort of like a grounding point, something that was familiar. But as the world changes more, magic's going to change more. And I don't think anybody is unreasonable for feeling like the thing they knew and loved has changed and isn't what they love anymore.
Right.
At the same time, I think it's okay to change your relationship with that thing. Um, the change is going to come whether we like it or not. The amount of pushback that we can do probably isn't enough to stop WotC shareholders. And even if we did, like, there's no need to. Like, I'm still going to go to Eternal Weekend this year, and I'm going to cast mostly Magic the Gathering cards. I'm going to win some Matches Legacy, I'm going to lose some Matches Legacy, and that's the game I love. And my opponent might play, a Dr. Ian Malcolm or a Battle Bot Transformer guy. But at the end of the day, I'm still tapping an Underground Sea to cast a Ponder. And, like, I can still find joy in that. My relationship with the game has definitely changed. There are some things I don't like about the changes as a player and as a business owner. But, change isn't always bad, which sometimes you just have to change with it. That's my impassioned speech about how I don't like some things the universe is beyond, but also I'm going to touch grass and not let it ruin my life because I love magic and magic is a huge part of my life, but also, damn, if I let Marvel Universes Beyond ruin my life, I'd be pretty remiss,
I will continue to buy cards at shows, read something for the first time, be a little shocked that it's been out for 3 years, shrug, and then listen to the person tell me how good it was in their Zazzlethorpe deck. What's a Zazzlethorpe?
I love Zazzlethorpe.
Great question.
No, Zazzlethorpe's awesome. It's a
my favorite commander.
Blue, green, and a red for a 3/7.5. It's from Ungrockable. It's time for everybody's favorite segment, Pick of the Week, where we pick our hot cards that we would like to purchase and we think you should purchase too.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
I'm going first because I'm worried that ours are the same.
Okay.
My pick of the week is based on mtgstocks.com, where you can find all of your great picks. It is a website, and you know what a website is. And it's a website about finance, and you don't know what finance is. And it's a website that will teach you more about both of those things, websites and finance. Can't confirm that first part. But can click on the monthly interest. You can get your premium. You know the pitch by now. Corbin does it better than I do. I'm gonna have to like ransack his house or something to find the script he uses. I will not be gentle, but I'm gonna talk about my pick of the week. It is Questing Druid. This is a card. Is this your pick?
This is not my pick. My pick is far cooler than this.
Nice. This is a pick that I noticed on MTG stocks was much more expensive in Europe, in that crazy land over there where all the euros and the coins and the castles and the kings. Questing Druid is up to like $8 on Hard Market. It's like 4-ish on TCG Player, and it used to be $2.50. And this is the most expensive rare from Wilds of Eldraine. It's not Soul Cauldron, it's not the most expensive mythic, but it is a very powerful card that does very powerful things. It is reminiscent of Quirion Dryad.
Yeah.
Is that the card?
Quirion Dryad, yeah.
They just stapled an extra spell onto it, and that is very, very good because it's card draw.
The spell is really good too.
Yeah, it's Ren's Resolve?
But it's an instant, notably, so there's some weird things with it. So I can illuminate a little bit why the card's going up in price, actually, because I'm very excited about this card, despite it not being my pick.
Great.
Andrea Mangucci believes that this card is a reason to splash green and blue-red Murktide, because oftentimes you play the card correctly, it's as good as Expressive Iteration, and sometimes it's better than Expressive Iteration. So if you have 4 mana up and you cast Seek the Beast, I believe is the name of the adventure.
That is the name of the adventure. I have the card up.
In response to their spell, and you hit a counterspell and a land, you counterspell their thing, you untap, you play the land, you play Questing Druid, that's a 3-for-1. That is better than Expressive Iteration would have been. It's also kind of like Tarmogoyf-esque in that you just sometimes play it on 3 with a Spell Pierce up, you Spell Pierce their thing, and the next turn you cast 2 cantrips, and you just have like a 4-4 or 5-5. The card is seen playing Legacy. I'm splashing green in my Grixis Delver deck just for the green half of this. It really just took someone as good as Andrea Mangucci to kind of figure out, like, hey, maybe we should be just, like, playing this busted thing. And you have to play a little bit smarter than you would play a Ren's Resolve, because you have to, like, time it well. It's not always correct to cast either half of it. You sometimes just have to, like, sit on it for a couple of turns, but the card is totally busted.
I believe the quote on Brainstorm is, "It is too good to cast."
The best time to resolve a Brainstorm is during the winner's interview, is my favorite me-ism.
There you go, Questing Druid. Wilds of Eldraine will be opened less and less as we get these 17 sets avalanched upon your game store shelves, which is all the more reason for Questing Druid to be picked up at $3 and then sold at $8 and tweeted about that you made a finance happen.
Speaking of Wilds of Eldraine, my pick is also from Wilds of Eldraine. I'm really high on Talion the Kindly Lord. So this is a commander that I just purchased one for myself for CEDH. This card is strong enough for competitive EDH, which is honestly kind of crazy when you think about it. But the card has a lot of good math things going on with it, where there's a direct premium on it of almost $13. They find copies of the full art foil for as low as $20, and then there's direct premium kind of starts around $33. As of the time
I
of
just
recording.
stopped reading at Legendary Creature Fairy Noble Mythic. That's good enough for me as a pick.
Well, so and even going further than that, in CEDH, I've had a game where I played it, you name 2, and I just like draw 3 or 4 cards a turn cycle because Thassa's Oracle, Tainted Pact, Underworld Breach, Najila, Opposition Agent, all these things have 2s on them because power, toughness, or mana value count for it. You attrition the board down by doing damage to them, you draw a bunch of extra cards. All of your tutors in the first couple turns can just find a Jewel Lotus to slam it. It's super fun. Like it got me to build a CEDH deck and actually own cards for it. Plus, it's this Fairy Noble, and there's like math things going for it, and it's a mythic from Wilds of Eldraine, which is about to start being opened less. So to me, this is like a slam dunk for all versions of it, but especially the borderless foil.
Sure. No notes.
No notes.
Right. So
Braden,
I originally was going to do one of the Cascade cards that you just like cascade into. But then I learned I don't know how the Discover mechanic works, so that's rookie move. That's what I get for having to wait until this point to be on Brainstorm Brewery. My second pick is just going to be Court of Ambition. I think the extended art or the normal one is actually a pretty reasonable pick. If you believe in the card, like it's a pretty powerful card. I've played it in Bennies a few times. It's powerful in Commander. It is a Monarch card that's an enchantment, which is pretty great. But if you believe in the card and actually think there's like a good reason for it to go up in the future, the extended art copies are about the same price as the normal copies right now. I know with Commander Legends, there's some awkwardness with the amount of uh, collector boosters that got opened, where the extended arts sometimes can lag behind the normal border, just because of like if you saw that chart that went up this last week, the collector boosters are radically large amount of the time, to the point where it impacts distribution on stuff like this. But anyway, I've been rambling. Court of Ambition, it's a pretty good card, pretty decent pickup. It's like $4 right now, $5.
It's just like a weird card that it was printed originally like 3 years ago at this point, 2 years ago.
Commander Legends is very old,
which is wild to say, but it is a black card that triggers Monarch, which there aren't that many of those. I mean, you have like Marquesa,
and the discard effect matters in Commander because there's so many commanders that care about discard. Whether it's Nekuzar or it is that stupid elf I'll never remember, or Grades, or there's a whole bunch of cards that are just about trying to play Jund Commander. So
Tiny Bones do be,
and it's a great Bennies card, like I mentioned. It's nuts and Bennies. You just go
meat.
Dark Ritual, Soul Ring, Court of Ambition. It's crazy, so good.
You just go.
You get
Dark
to play
Ritual, Soul Ring.
4 of each in your deck. Come on.
Well, there's 4 of each in your deck.
I know, but like I think there's a lot of things.
Yeah,
that are
Court of
okay
Ambition
if you go Dark
used to be like
Ritual, Soul
$1,
Ring.
so it was pretty
but
good.
This one's fun.
Now it's
being $1 is a huge benefit in Bennies.
True.
You can't cast Helm of Obedience with your ley line. That's like
what you're doing instead is you're
$50.
just casting some decent black card that's an MH2 that is in 95's case for some reason, and living the dream.
All right, I'm gonna go live the dream by going to bed tonight because we recorded late and I am not used to that, and I am a Boy Scout and I go to bed on time. So, this has been a in memoriam episode of Brainstorm Brewery. We're calling it in Brainstormorium Brewery. Rest in peace, Corbin. You can send your, I guess, wishes and regrets and unsent love letters to his home address, which I will be posting on the internet again.
It'll be scrolling underneath my face here if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah, with the Chiron of Corbin's home address and his social security net. Like, he doesn't need any of that anymore, so we're just gonna...
Send your grievances, too. We'll have them read them on the next episode. With a Ouija board, obviously.
Yeah. Halloween episode next week, so that'll be thematic. And thank you so much, Braden, for coming on. Where can people find you? Where can people
you can find me
interact with
you can
your
find
content?
me on Patreon, Braden MTG, although I haven't written anything in like a month or two because I started a new job and I've just been a lazy piece of shit. I drive like 2 hours a day for work because I'm living with my parents in the short term, so I've not had a lot of free time. Also, I've just been jamming so much Lorcana, other than that, I'm on Twitter. And also, you can find me on TOA Michael's Twitter. If you've noticed, it's been a little bit more unhinged lately. That's just me. That's just me tweeting stuff Michael's really not comfortable with. And I'm just kidding. But yeah, if you want to buy stuff from Michael, it would probably keep me employed.
It was great to have you. It's long overdue, and I'm sure we'll have you on again, assuming that Michael doesn't listen to this episode and decide to put you in a NDA lockbox.
It'll be a nice dark bathroom where he belongs.
It's true. Speak. The light switch is totally not in a reasonable place. Like, it's not where you expect it to be. It's a place where
and there's a giant window.
It's like a fire hazard.
That
it feels
is
like
in the bathroom, so it's very well lit in the day. So you just expect, this is how they used to live in the olden times. But
it's the time of year where, like, by 4 o'clock it's dark. You don't leave till 5, and you're pissing in the dark.
I've been pissing in the dark, or I've been pissing before 4. I just gotta get my pissing out of the way before it gets dark. The wolves will get me. Yeah.
On that note, we also have a very special bonus episode that comes out this week. Check it out. It'll be on your podcast feed. It'll be on the YouTube. Corbin and I did a review of Doctor Who. We had a very, very incredibly charismatic and funny guest come on to talk about the real deep cuts in the lore behind the Doctor Who. So it's Turned out great. Check that out. JJ will put it in the description and put a little link to it right over my face. And I'm going to move my face back and forth so he has to keep adjusting where the link is. Where's it going to be?
Edit, movie boy, edit. Let's go.
Corbin will be back next week, maybe with Jason. Have a good night.
Bye.